Aloha, friends. This is Brian Goss with GN Sports Media, and this is another episode of Game Time with the Goss, powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. Hey, today's episode and every episode is powered by Grey Wolf Promotions. Need the best swag for your next high school sports season and playoff run? End your search and turn to Grey Wolf Promotions today. Located in Hearst, Grey Wolf caters to everyone across the DFW Metroplex and around the state. T-shirts, hats, bags, and more. Grey Wolf Promotions has the best merch for your favorite high school team. Serving you for over 30 years. Contact Grey Wolf today at 817-868-9653 or email sales@greywolfpromotions.com. My man Bill Webb and his staff will take care of you this season. All right, my guest today is Tom Bean softball coach Lindsey Gage. This is her first year coaching Tom Bean. She's a former Tom Bean Tomcat herself, and she's got the Tomcats 22, 3, and 2 undefeated district champs and ready to go in the playoffs here later this week in Class 2A. Lindsey, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
All right, your alma mater. I'm sure there's a lot of coaches across the country. They would love to come back and coach their high schools. Not a lot of them are able to. But for you, just how did this all happen?
Um, Honestly, we were in Houston the last 6 years. My husband, he coached football, so we've been down there in Houston, and then we had the opportunity to come back home this past summer, and it just so happened that Tom Bean's softball job was open. So I had a few people reach out to me, kind of gauging my interest with it, and just kind of talking with Coach McBride and our principal and superintendent. It just kind of felt like the right fit to try to come home and bring back the culture that Tom Bean had. Tom Bean is typically very successful in softball. They have been for a long time. So I knew, the winning traditions were there, and I was just looking to, try to keep that going.
I had said this earlier on one of my podcasts. Every coach takes pride in what they do and where they're at, but it feels like there's something a little more special when you're able to coach your former high school and have all these firsts and all this success. Do you feel that way?
Definitely. I mean, I feel like it's just a little more meaningful when it's something that you've also given some of your time to. Obviously, growing up, I went to Tom Bean my entire life. My mom's a teacher at Tom Bean, and so she kind of just took us with her when we were little, and we stayed here the whole way through. So, definitely invested in what Tom Bean has to offer, and it's just been really special being a part of that and getting to give back to the community that built me and helped me make me who I am today.
So coming into the season, in the off season, when got to know the girls,
Hmm.
because you guys are fairly still, you're a young team, right?
Hmm.
And so, what was your idea there in the off season and maybe the first day of practice? Did you sense that this could be a special year?
I mean, I had heard a lot about the younger class, the freshman class, and then there's obviously some other talented girls mixed in with our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. But honestly, they all play volleyball, they all play basketball, they all do track. So when I first got here, I really didn't have the chance to really see what we were made of until I got those kids from the other sports. They're very talented across the board. They're, athletic. So they give our volleyball team a good chance to win. They give our basketball team a good chance to win. So I knew we had the chance to be successful, but it wasn't until we really got into our first tournament and we were trying to put it all together that I was like, hey, we have something special here. So yeah, it took me a little bit to finally see where we were at, but obviously now we're rolling and the kids mesh really well. I think that's super important. Especially this freshman class. Since they play everything together, they're really good at feeding off one another. they're very selfless. This group is very selfless. It doesn't matter who's getting the job done. They're truly happy for one another, and I think that's contributed a lot to our success.
So you have six freshmen that start, and you mentioned just you knew what the freshman class coming in, just the talent they could have. But did they still exceed some expectation? I mean, only three losses on the year and undefeated in district.
Absolutely. When you have a young group of kids, I feel like their minds can go either way. The physical ability, the softball ability is there, but at the end of the day, you're still relying on, some of them are still 14. So 14 and 15-year-olds to pretty much take the majority of the cuts, the pitches, the throws, all the things. So, they have definitely exceeded my expectations. When I took this job, people around the district said, "Yeah, I think y'all could maybe sneak into that fourth spot. You have a lot of talent, but they're really young." But they have, I think, surprised a lot of people. I think that they don't play like freshmen. A lot of them do play travel ball, so they're used to playing pretty high level softball throughout the year. But they have definitely, I wouldn't say surprised me, but they have surprised me in ways on the mental side of the game. So they're doing a really, really good job. I'm super proud of them.
Your district is a pretty tough district in 2A with Trenton and White Wright, teams that made the
Hmm.
playoffs last year, Tioga. You mentioned playing in tournaments, and you could kind of see how special it could be. But as you rolled into district, did you feel like you could go undefeated against some of those, former playoff teams, strong teams?
I don't know if I would say I was expecting that. I knew that we would be tough. But Whitewright made a deep run last year. Honeygrove made a deep run last year. Trenton's very good. Trenton gave us a run for our money both times we played them. So I think being in a competitive district is an advantage. Obviously, once you go into playoffs, because we haven't really. Um, we played in some tough games in the preseason, and then now just being able to have those teams throughout district and continue that going is going to help us. But I don't think I would say I was expecting us to go undefeated, just because of our age and our lack of experience. But they obviously proved me wrong, so I'm super happy about that.
So last year Tom Bean missed the playoffs. I think they went 2-10 in district. You mentioned having five returners from last season's team. Talk about their role and do they look different in the sense of, trying to get that winning feeling back?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't here last year, so I can't really speak to that, but I do know the other kids that we have, they want to win and they understand that their roles may be different than what they were last year, but they're all in. So it's been really fun to kind of watch those older kids or the returners mesh with the younger kids. Even though they didn't have a super successful season last year, the leadership is still there and the accountability is still there with those kids. And I think that's super important. I don't think any of them look at each other as, oh, well, you were on this team last year and now you're on this team this year. I think they're very capable and deserving and hardworking to earn the roles that they have this year, and they do. I mean, I carry 13 kids, and they all play a part on our team. So I think it's been really fun to watch them mesh and grow together.
Your recent softball success travels to Ridge Point down south, and then before that, taking Anna to the state tournament in 2019. And then now Tom Bean, which is a very small school in 2A. But does the softball at Tom Bean differ at all with those bigger schools like a Ridge Point or Anna?
I think yes and no. At the end of the day, kids are still kids. So, my job is to just lead them and coach them and give them the best opportunity to win. But you run into, at Ridge Point, I had those kids all year. Like all they played was softball. So I had 40 kids in off season starting August 10th through, us playing in the season. So that part of it is different. But at the end of the day, softball is softball. And I mean, I do think a lot of these kids could compete at a really high level of softball. I mean, people have asked me, can any of these kids play for you at Ridgepoint? And the answer is yes. They definitely could have played 6A softball. But I think the value of that is these kids are proud to be from Tom Bean. And I think sometimes the smaller schools get overlooked, but the school spirit at a small school is, night and day from the big school, which is surprising. But there's just something about, you've grown up with this group of kids, everybody knows everyone. So the sense of pride and the sense of, like I play for my school is a lot bigger at a small school versus a big school.
And finally, talking about the playoffs, can you give our listeners your by district info? Who are you playing, when and where?
We are playing Wolfe City, the first round for by district. We play this Thursday at 6 p.m. at Sherman High School, and then on Friday at Sherman as well. We play at 5, and then the if needed game is right after the 5 o'clock game at 7.
Awesome. I'll get you out on this, but what will be the biggest message to your kids as you start this um, playoff season? You know, a lot of these kids, especially obviously your freshmen, have not had that experience of a playoff game. It's going to be a little different than tournament season and district season. But what's your biggest message going to be?
I think our biggest message is just to keep focusing on us. That's been my message to them all year. You're going to hear a lot of outside noise, a lot more experienced teams around us. But I think the biggest part for us is we focus on us. If we've struggled with one thing in a game, like we go back to practice, go back to work, and the girls are very dedicated to making sure that we get that right that for the next game. So just sticking to our game plan, just staying true to who we are. We don't do anything fancy. I'm a firm believer in keeping softball simple. So, I think that's super important with the younger girls is just to stay simple and keep staying true to who we are.
Well, awesome. That's Tom Bean, softball coach Lindsey Gage. Again, Tom Bean, 22, 3 and 2. Start the by-district round against Wolfe City there in Class 2A. So, Lindsey, thank you for the time and good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that'll do it for another episode of Game Time with the Goss. I am Brian Gossett with GM Sports Media. Please check us out on all social media platforms, as well as our website, gmsportsmedia.com, for the latest softball news and playoff schedule. We want to thank our proud sponsors and partners, K9 Kind Resort in Justin, Texas, as well as Grey Wolf Promotions. Again, contact Grey Wolf Promotions for your high school swag, 817-868-9653. So until next time, enjoy the playoffs. Aloha.